The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay. With experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
From the Fifth Quarter Studio in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to the Basketball Leadership Podcast. Here are your hosts, Steve Collins and Greg Berg.
Hey, Coach. Welcome to the Basketball Leadership Podcast. I'm so excited you decided to join. Before we jump in, real quick, go over and check out Coach Berg's website, gberg.gumroad.com. It is awesome. You will not be disappointed. It's a little bit of everything. There's free resources over there with a preseason checklist, off-season playbook, all sorts of great things. Go over and check it out. All half of it's free. I should yell at him for all the free stuff he's giving away, but it's great. His team leader OS is awesome. So go over and check that out. Also, when you're there and you're thinking about it, go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. You take that leadership, you take all the stuff that I have built over the last 30 years to build a nationally ranked team, to be nationally ranked, to win 3 state championships. Everything I have learned over the last 30 years is in teachhoops.com. Go over and check it out. I don't think you'll be disappointed. 14-day free trial. And let's head off to the podcast. Bye. Here we go. All right. Welcome to the Basketball Leadership Podcast. Coach, we haven't talked about your stuff recently. Let's do that. Your iOS and all that. Let's talk about that.
So my team leader OS, which is teamleaderos.com, is doing very well. Hundreds of coaches have purchased it already and are using it. It's basically the ultimate way to build and develop leaders on your team. It's a team leader training manual with 20 lessons, 200 minutes of video, 300 pages of resources. It's basically everything a coach could need for that. I'm also, Coach, in the midst of, I'll have a spring summer project of a new one, and it's really, I don't have a name for it yet. Might be like the Coach OS, but I really want a program to develop just coaches in general, coaching in general, what goes into coaching, from organization to leadership to culture to communication and why you coach, and just so much that goes into it. And so I'm in the midst of putting something kind of big together there.
What's your why?
Yeah.
I always ask that question.
What is your why? That's where it all starts. Everything starts with that. And
your newsletter. I love your newsletter.
My newsletter is growing like gangbusters. Great Teams, Better Leaders is the newsletter. You can go to
what day of the week does it come out? I forgot.
Comes out Thursday morning, 7 a.m. I got 11,000 coaches reading it right now. It's growing like gangbusters.
It's just the right length, I think.
Yeah, it's about a 4-minute read. And I have another plan with that to kind of expand that to another potential day with a lot of resources. So I've got a lot of things in the hopper right now.
I'm okay. So I'm going to laugh at Coach right now. It's like, okay, you and I got to talk, because as soon as you start expanding, it's like, it just compounds. Oh my God.
I know. I've thought about this for a long time. I've got a good plan, but
I'm backing off. It's like my newsletter tends to go out just about every day. It's like I'm backing off. I'm tweaking mine. But then during COVID, my podcast, it's like I've added. So I got to figure out. Yeah. backing
Yeah.
off. Like,
So
I've
anyway,
got to
all
the
my
point of
stuff,
give the Gumroad URL.
yeah, you don't like my URLs, but if you
don't.
go to gb1leadership.com, you can kind of get everything there. So we'll just stick to GB1 Leadership, and you can access my Gumroad. If you follow me on Twitter, it's all there linked too. It's at GB1121 on Twitter. So,
Okay.
and I'm pushing 35,000, 36,000 followers there. It's crazy.
Awesome.
That's all I gotta say is it's crazy what's happened, and just
It's
happy to
good.
be making an
It's
impact.
good. It's your why. It's your why. I know.
It's your
It's
why. It's right.
perfect. All right. In-game leadership. What do you, that's today's topic.
Yeah, I mean,
what's your
I just
feeling
think
on that?
talking about players and what does leadership look like in a game, and I really narrowed it down to 5 things. Your in-game leaders, number one, have to communication obviously is where everything starts, and they have to be verbal, and they have to be verbal with talking on the court and talking in the huddle and talking in the locker room, and getting everyone's mindset ready, and that's step one to leadership, and really not just leading by example, but your best leaders are going to be your best communicators in game. I just think that's really true. And then I'll go through these 5 and we can kind of talk about them after. The second one, and you've talked about this a lot, in-game leadership is about reminders. It's about reminding players. As coaches, we're reminding our players all the time. Good coaches are always reminding, but good leaders, players, ideally are the ones doing it. Your best leaders are talking about where guys need to be defensively, position, they're pointing out, all the details and the minutia that go into a game. Those reminders are key. Number 3 is being a connector of people. And those are the little things, like making sure all 15 guys are feeling connected in the game, making sure the bench is into the game. And it's the little things that go with that. And that's my 4th one, which is those EGBs, those touches, those energy giving behaviors. Like, I am a big believer that energy is contagious. I had this talk with our team last night. Negative energy is contagious. Body language is contagious. Touches, positive body language is contagious. And your best teams feed off positive energy with each other. And it's something we talk about a lot. I just think it's so, so important. And then the last one is accountability. In-game leadership, your leaders have to hold their teammates accountable to how they're playing, how they're defending, how they're talking.
That was the story I told last week.
Critical.
That was the story I told last week when my 2 leaders held the sophomore accountable during a key point of the game, saying that he's not ready, coach. He's not ready. He's not focused. Yeah. That I mean, I wish it wasn't at the end of the season that had happened, but it got. But
it happened.
It did happen. And I love that. And it, and that one.
So which ones of those stick out the most to you? Which ones of those between communication, reminding, connecting, EGBs, and accountability?
Well, EGBs are big.
Yeah.
And I've shown video on, like, we have a huge thing. If one of your teammates goes down, you go, we practice running to go pick them up kind of thing, but it's those touches. I think that's a big one. And then my sophomore coach was the point guard of my last state tournament team in 2017. And he is the only kid I've ever let into my coaching huddle during a timeout and stuff. And it's because he was an unbelievable communicator of his friends, of his teammates, of getting everyone on the same page. And I give credit to his parents. They've done a wonderful job with that young man. But it was like he knew. It's like the leaders know. They get it. They get what it is. And I'm telling you, I have a kid right now. He's 5'9". He's a baseball player. He's not a basketball player, but he's a leader.
Yep.
And if there's any question whether he's coming out, I'm camping out in his front yard, because it's like, baseball's great, but it's like, I need you, because he's an energy giver, not an energy taker. Yeah. And he is, a ring leader. Like, it's like a pipe piper. It's like pipe piper thing. The good ones they follow.
Oh, like, totally.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
my best teams, our state tournament teams, always had that bench energy guy that brought everyone together, that was contagious to other people. It's so critical, and it goes to the point, we've talked about this before, but your best leader does not have to be a starter, does not have to be. They don't at all. And the Josh Pastner story, and I don't know if you've heard that from Arizona. He ended up being a college coach. I think he's at Georgia Tech right now. He led their team in Arizona to the state, or to the NCAA championship, as a walk-on freshman. And I could tell the story. It's something we talked about in the Jansen stuff that I did, but it's a phenomenal story, and he's a phenomenal leader, and he never played. And he carried their team, and the teammates will all admit that. Right. And it's that in-game leadership. It's those guys that bring out the best in other people, that are invaluable on a team. They're invaluable.
And I'm going to be honest, from someone that's done this for 35 years, it is really hard for teenagers.
Totally.
Because to be honest with you, they're in a developmental stage of very egocentric, very me, very TikTok-ish.
Peer pressure.
Yes. Is anybody looking at me? Blah, blah, blah. So,
it's actually the topic of next week's newsletter, Steve, is it's called the 7 Steps to Accountability, but I talk about that. I talk about why is it so hard for teenagers to hold their teammates accountable? Why is it so hard to lead?
It is.
And
because they're so conscious of who they are, and they're trying to figure out who they are.
And it's hard to step out of your shell. Especially, you got these relationships with kids oftentimes since 2nd grade.
Right. And
these natural roles and these natural interactions with your friends develop on how you interact, and kind of the pecking order, especially in a smaller school, because you've grown up with these kids your whole life. So it's really hard to be 17 and all of a sudden put the hammer down on a friend.
Yeah. And what I've noticed with great leadership is they care about people's feelings, and they have empathy, but they're willing to step on the toes that need to be stepped on for the betterment of the group.
The bigger picture matters.
The bigger picture matters. And they're not worried about how they look. They're not worried about, sometimes the repercussions, which can cause problems sometimes, but they're worried about the end game, and can we get this, train moving in the right direction?
But think about that with coaches too.
Yeah.
Okay. How many coaches, there's a lot of coaches that don't lead that way.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a number of coaches that want to be buddy with their players, or they're too friendly with them, or they want to be liked. I mean, these coaches, typically it's harder for them, and they maybe don't last as long in coaching, but willing to keep these standards high and maybe upset someone along the way, because it's what's better for the team, is what culture and standards are all about.
It is.
And there's a lot of coaches that can't do that, even as adults.
I know. And it's like
parents,
leader. It's like leaders don't only worry about themselves, they worry about others. And I've always thought that's true. And, I had to, like was telling you earlier, I had to sit a kid because he missed a shoot around, and we probably win the game if I play him or I suit him. And I grabbed him the next day, and we had a talk, and I said, so-and-so, I'm not going to use his name, but so-and-so, I said, I did this because I care about you. I did this because I'm trying to teach you a lesson. This isn't about basketball. The tears are coming down his thing. And he knew, but the impact I made on him as a human being, it goes back to my why. My why is whatever. The wins will take care of themselves.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to make it that young man a better human being. And
you are, but you're also thinking about the team and the collective and the culture and the impact and
the ripple.
When you don't deal with that, that's why I always say culture is every day.
Yes.
When you don't deal with that, there is a domino effect. And
the other kids, it's like, well, one of my let's say my son comes late for curfew, my daughter sees it, she's going to assume she can come home late for curfew. Like,
Yeah.
it's like that's the family culture. It's like, well, that's not okay. So I think I think there's a lot of similarities. You and I had talked about that with leadership. You know, the leader of the I'm definitely not the leader of the house, but
Yeah. Yeah. As a high school principal, on top of that, like, it's very conscious to me of the leadership and cultures every day. You know, like your culture can slip without those decisions made on a daily basis. And it's all part of it. And it's ironic, or it's not ironic, but the parallels between being a high school kid, being able to hold their teammates accountable, and then adults doing the same thing and parents doing the same thing. It's a skill.
it is
And
a
not
skill.
everyone has it.
Nope.
It can be developed, but it's a
It-
skill for sure.
It is a skill. All right. Anything else, Coach?
That's good.
All right. Till next week.